Speaking of China, here's China calling for an independent, fully sovereign state of Palestine.
Calling for a large-scale international...
Which is very cowardly, for the record, but still better than the United States of America. But still super cowardly. I told you that China was going to be very, very reserved in their perspective. China is a important trade partner for Israel. They use surveillance technologies. They sell weapons technology to one another. So the idea that like China or even Russia, ironically, was going to be unconditionally on the side of the Palestinians and not simply using the Palestinians as a cudgel against the West and to really heighten the contradictions and showcase that Western hegemony is on its way out. Anyone who tells you anything but that is most likely a charlatan. Okay? Who is China not an important trade partner to? Fair.
Peace conference to discuss the establishment of a Palestinian state. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi also called for a ceasefire in Gaza during a meeting with the Egyptian Foreign Minister in Cairo. He says Beijing is worried about the growing threat of a wider conflict. Well, Katrina Yu joins us live now from Beijing. Katrina, we haven't heard much Chinese reaction since the Gaza war started. So what more did Wang Yi have to say then?
Well, actually, China was very vocal after the initial beginning of the war in October. And the weeks following, China called for a ceasefire rather quickly. It's also sent a special envoy. It's been quite vocal at the United Nations. But it is true that this is the most significant statement we've had on the crisis recently from Wang Yi. And he made these statements while on a tour of the Middle East and Africa. He's currently in Tunisia. And this statement was released after a stop in Egypt, where he met with the foreign minister there, as well as the Secretary General of the League of Arab States. Now, what Wang Yi is calling for, the foreign minister from China is calling for, is a large-scale peace conference to discuss the implementation of a two-state solution, one that Wang Yi says must be authoritative and effective. And it seems that China feels that not enough is being done by the international community to bring an end to this crisis, and that China is disappointed that there hasn't been any sort of concrete solution that's come out of the processes.
I mean, I told you this. You know who also forgot about this? I saw this earlier. I saw this last night, actually. You know who else was like very familiar with this personally, despite the fact that they sing a very different tune now, even though they said it was a positive back then and now they would view it as a negative. Everyone's favorite, like at least the Houthis' favorite American spokesperson, and former HasanAbi head, Jackson Hinkledink. Where is it? Hold up. Let me see if I can find this tweet real quick. Oh, here it is. That's right. In the context of this now deleted stream of Hinkle defending Netanyahu, is that Hinkle is defending his meetup with the Zionist Jordan Peterson that he posted on IG on November 10th, 2022. Of course, back then, he was like way more openly right-wing, right? Yes, Hinkledink was a Bernie bro and a HasanAbi head way back in the day, and then became a HasanAbi hater. Went on Tucker Carlson, was like very right wing, MAGA communist, yada yada, and now he's like the base defender of the Houthis. Here, let's take a look at what he had to say back then, though.
You know who else has a good working relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu? Vladimir Putin has a very good working relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm actually happier.
So the difference between me and Hinkle here is that he was saying that was a good thing back then because, he's Mr. Multipolarity. And now, of course, he would completely deny saying such things. The difference is I'm consistent, and I actually have a worldview where I will tell you that it was a bad thing back then and is still bad now, just like I've told you time and time again that, like, if you think that China is going to be the best imperialism defender, especially as it pertains to Israel, you are wrong. Just like Turkey consistently has said and done things that are definitely expressly anti-Israel, and yet Turkey has a lot of power in this circumstance that it doesn't exercise for some weird reason. It's because it's theater, okay? It is theater. That's it.
That for the sake of, the multipolar world order, that he is in power right now compared to the previous coalition in Israel. Xi Jinping of the Communist Party of China has a good working relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu, better than the previous.
It's not bad that his opinion has changed, though. My man, if you think that this is an organic change of opinion and not specifically and not specifically a person who is very desperately trying to grift as aggressively as they can, I don't know what to tell you.
His coalition. You know who else has a...
Yeah. So, come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, no, he was a former top of the hour chatter, as a matter of fact. How things have changed. Hasan, you started wearing dresses promoting transsexualization of children and took hair loss medication that decimated your testosterone levels. Why would anybody still watch you, he said on November 6, 2022. Decimated my testosterone levels. Ay, ay, ay. Fun fallen chatter. One of my former HasanAbi heads, previously subscribed for 6 months. But yeah, there are a lot of people who just like fly. I mean, dude, especially in like leftist movements, like there are so many people that just, try to do their very best to make a living, I guess. You got the bag and ran with it. Not going to lie, if I thought I could get rich off of being one of your haters, I would do it too, 100p. I mean, there's plenty who have done that as well in the other direction. You and Hinkle share a lot of opinions, so we learn from you. Come on, dude. Hinkle's a communist Putin defender. Yeah, being a communist Putin defender immediately shows how, unserious of a person you are. Get out of here, brother. Trotskyites used to go on to become neocons. Now they just grift on X. Yep. Famously a communist, Vladimir Putin. All right.